Hi, community. I hope you're doing well. Today, we're going to talk about our classes, the lower, middle, and upper classes. So, always in the past, there's been this distinction about lower class, about middle class, and about upper class, right? And we can describe them, we all can. The lower class were always the people who were really scraping by or just barely scraping by, always looking for where's my next paycheck going to come from, jumping in and out of jobs, or very, very, very low paying job. Always a problem trying to get money or do stuff. They didn't do anything what we would consider fun, right? Middle class would be pretty much everybody else. And then there's the upper class, which were the luxurious lifestyle people that we would say. These are the people that would have yachts, they would have billion-dollar businesses, they would be going to and from international travel all over the place. But here's the problem. As we have progressed in our dates, meaning we're now in 2020, depending on when you watch this, we're in 2020 right now. And what's happened is we have moved that line between lower and middle and upper class. So you're all familiar with the bell curve, right? So this is what a typical bell curve would look like, where we'd have the line here, which is representing people at this point. Most people would fit in this middle class, right? Most people would be in this middle class somewhere. Then there's a few over here in the lower class, and then there's a few over here in the upper class, right? A few years back, we had this 99%, right? Talking about the 1% of the Wall Street up 1%ers, right? They would be the upper class of what we would talk about. And we all have different variations or versions or explanations for what the upper class would be. Where is that line really going to be? Is it income? Is it based on assets? Is it based on what you look like or how you act? That's up to interpretation. Anyway, so here's what's happened. We have, over the last couple of decades, moved these lines. So instead of this being that lower class line between lower class and middle class, and this being that line between middle and upper class, what we've done is we have moved this line between middle and upper class, we have moved it this way. And we have created a new line here. Do you see the problem with this? Now, all of these people who are in the middle class doing middle class things are now acting like upper class people. We are acting like we can take these expensive, exotic trips when we really can't afford them. We are buying cars that we really can't afford. We are buying houses that we really can't afford. We are going on extreme spending sprees because we are acting like we're upper class, even though we should be knowing that we're middle class. And so here's where I think that gap is happening, that we have an issue here because we are trying to be into that next class. So the takeaway for today is we want to make sure that there's nothing wrong with lower class, middle class, upper class. We're not less or more human beings, but we have to acknowledge where we are on this spectrum, on this scale. If you're lower class, own the lower class. And then if you want to move up into the middle class, we've got to do things that move us into the middle class. If we're middle class, let's own that. We don't want to move into lower class because then we can't do as many things. But if you want to move into the upper class, let's move into the upper class. But let's not just act like we're in the upper class. Let's actually do things monetarily and financially to move us into that upper class. And then we'll be able to do the things and act like we're in upper class. Again, nothing wrong with acting like that as long as you're in that category. So pay attention to your budget, pay attention to the things that you're spending money on, and you actually be be able to know and do the things in your class. So that's our takeaway, is know what class you're in and act the way that you're supposed to in that class. All right, have a great day.